Hello, gentle cousins. It is time for us to come to the end of the road with Macbeth. There is one final scene to talk about, and then just some of my thoughts about the play in general. This has been an awesome ride for me. I've enjoyed it very much. And I suspect that it won't be the end. I think that I should choose another play. This is the one that I know the best. But there are other plays. I may want to do another Shakespeare next. But I'm having fun doing it, and if you're having fun watching it, I don't think there's any reason to stop. So now we come to the happy ending. And we find in the final scene of the play, Malcolm, who is to be our new king, standing with Seward, who is the English general that was loaned by the English king to help Malcolm gain the throne, and Ross, who is another Thane, who is, we've seen him throughout the play, but he is definitely sided with Malcolm. And Malcolm said, "I would the friends we missed were safe arrived." And Seward, the general, says, "Some must go off," that means die. "And yet by these I see, so great a day as this is cheaply bought." So yes, we've had casualties, definitely. But considering what we were able to do today, we didn't have as many as I feared. It's a good day. And then Ross comes in and tells Seward that his son has died. And this little passage really humanizes Seward, the English general. We met his son earlier, and then we saw his son die at Macbeth's hands, and die very bravely. And Ross comes in and says, "Your son, my lord, has paid a soldier's debt. He only lived but till he was a man, the which no sooner had his prowess confirmed in the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died." Seward says, "Then he is dead?" Ross says, "Aye, and brought off the field. Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it hath no end." Seward asks, "Had he his hurts before?" Meaning, the wounds that caused his death, were they on the front of his body or the back? And that's very important in these times. That his son wasn't running away when he died, that he was fighting. And Ross says, "Aye, on the front." And Seward says, "Why then God's soldier be he. Had I as many sons as I have hairs on my head, I would not wish them to a fairer death." And so his knell is knolled. And so he is gone, and he accepts it. And in that little tiny piece of grief, our hearts go out to General Seward, the English general. For he's just like us, he's a parent, and we all have to kind of wonder how we would face the death of a child, which is the hardest thing anyone can face. And then Macduff says, "Hail King." Macduff comes on, having just fought Macbeth, and he's carrying a very interesting package. He's carrying Macbeth's head. And it's only then do we realize that Macduff won the fight. So when last we met together, they were fighting. And Macbeth was like, "I'm not giving it an inch. I know I'm going to lose it. I'm going to fight to the death." Well, he lost. Macduff bested him in battle and cut off his head, apparently. And he comes in and shows off the head. And he says, "Hail King, for so thou art." So that's very important. He hails Malcolm as the king. So because Macduff is dead, you're now the king, buddy. "Behold where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free." And then all say, "Hail, King of Scotland." And then Malcolm shows everything that you would want a king to show in this final speech. And I'll read it for you. We shall not spend a large expense of time before we reckon with your general loves and make us even with you. Okay, so right there, he's saying, okay, we're going to pay everybody that came. You all spent money to come into this battle. You've all lost friends and family. You've all made sacrifices, and we're going to pay you out. This is what Duncan refused to do in the beginning of the play. All of his thanes showed up for him at war, and what he said to his thanes was, all I can offer you is my thanks, not payment. That was a mistake on Duncan's part, and Malcolm does not make that mistake. He says, I'm gonna make it right with you financially. My thanes and kinsmen, henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honor named. So I'm gonna give you money, and I'm gonna give you land, and everyone that fought with me here today is gonna be the new power center of Scotland. So Malcolm is very, very smart. He is empowering all the people that backed him. And so that all the people with real power in this new Scotland are going to be his friends. But it's also the right thing to do. What's more to do, which would be planted newly with the time, as calling home our exiled friends abroad that fled the snares of watchful tyranny, producing forth the cruel ministers of this dread butcher and his fiend-like queen, who, as it is thought, by self and violent hands took off her life. So he's talking about doing two things. One, getting all of our friends back, the people that fled the country, and also rooting out all the people that helped Macbeth. Who was in league with him? We're going to find those people. This and what needful else that calls upon us by the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time, and place. So he's saying